I told my ex's wife he cheated on me 20 years later. My high school reunion was supposed to be fun. You know, catching up with old friends, seeing who got fat, the usual stuff. But when I walked into that decorated gym last Saturday night, the first person I saw was my ex-boyfriend Derek with his arm around some blonde woman I didn't recognize. We dated for 3 years in college. I thought we were going to get married. We had talked about it, looked at rings, even picked out names for our future kids. Then one day he just broke up with me out of nowhere, said he wasn't ready for commitment and needed space to figure himself out. I was devastated, spent weeks crying, barely eating, couldn't focus on my classes. My roommate practically had to drag me out of bed every morning. Derek said he just needed time and maybe we could work things out later. 2 months after our breakup, I saw Derek at the campus coffee shop with this girl Rachel from his psychology class. They were holding hands and laughing like they'd been together forever. When he saw me staring, he looked away and whispered something to her. I found out later from mutual friends that Derek and Rachel had been hooking up for months before he broke up with me. Everyone knew except me. He'd been telling people he was going to dump me as soon as he figured out how to do it without looking like the bad guy. Fast forward 20 years and there they were at my reunion. Derek had gotten bald and chubby, but Rachel still looked pretty good. She was wearing this expensive-looking dress and showing off a huge diamond ring to anyone who would look. I was standing by the punch bowl when Rachel walked over to get a drink. She smiled at me like we were old friends and said she remembered me from college. She started going on about how she and Derek had been married for 18 years and had 3 beautiful kids. Then she said something that made my blood boil. She told me how lucky I was that Derek broke up with me back then because it allowed both of us to find our true soulmates. She said Derek always talked about what a sweet girl I was and how he hoped I was happy. That's when I snapped. I looked her straight in the eye and said, Rachel, Derek didn't break up with me to set me free. He was cheating on me with you for months and was too much of a coward to tell me the truth. Her face went completely white. She put down her drink and stared at me like I'd just slapped her. I could see the wheels turning in her head as she realized what I was saying. I kept going. He told me he needed space to figure himself out, but really he was just waiting for the right moment to dump me so he could be with you guilt-free. Everyone on campus knew about it except me. Rachel started shaking her head and saying that couldn't be true, that Derek had told her they started dating after we broke up, but I could tell she was starting to remember things differently now. I told her about the times Derek canceled dates with me, claiming he had to study, but my friends saw him at parties with her, how he stopped calling me every night like he used to, how he suddenly became distant and started picking fights over stupid stuff. By the time I finished talking, Rachel was crying. She said Derek had always told her that I was jealous and possessive, and that's why their relationship didn't work out. She thought he left me because I was clingy and demanding. Derek must have noticed his wife crying because he came rushing over asking what was wrong. Rachel looked at him with tears streaming down her face and asked if what I said was true. Derek's face went bright red. He started stuttering and making excuses, saying it was complicated and that was a long time ago. But Rachel wasn't having it. She told him she needed some air and walked outside. Derek followed her and I could see them through the window having this huge argument in the parking lot. She was pointing and yelling while he kept trying to grab her hands. My friend Lisa came up to me and asked what just happened. I told her I'd finally given Derek's wife the truth he should have told her 20 years ago. Rachel came back inside about an hour later, but Derek wasn't with her. She walked straight up to me and apologized for what Derek had put me through. She said she never would have gotten involved with him if she'd known he was lying to both of us. She also told me this wasn't the first time she'd caught Derek being dishonest. Apparently he'd been working late a lot recently, and she'd been getting suspicious phone calls. The next Monday, my friend saw on Facebook that Rachel had changed her status to single. Derek moved out of their house that same week. 20 years later, the truth finally caught up with him.